Hey everyone, this is Rich, Plant-Based Coaches Podcast. Dr. Suzanne Fox is here with me today,
Hey everybody, how are you? Welcome in.
and we're honored to have our guest, Geoff Palmer. He's part of a Clean Machine. I've been following his work for years. He sells a lot of great products. He's very knowledgeable on plant-based eating, and he has an exciting new product that I wanted to tell you about. I don't want to screw up the name. I know it's mycelin. Um,
MycelPro.
yeah,
What's it called?
MycelPro, like short for mycelium and protein.
yeah,
So it's MyCellPro.
yeah.
Yes,
And it has a lot of spermidine in it. And I know our audience is very familiar with Dr. Greger, and he wrote about that in How Not to Age. One of the
yep,
richest food sources before Jeff's product came along was, I think it was wheat germ.
correct.
Um,
Yes.
your product has a lot more spermidine in it, from what I heard. And I'd like to talk about the anti-aging effects of spermidine first, if you don't mind.
Yeah, yeah. So spermidine, what is spermidine first, I guess? Spermidine is what's called a polyamine, poly meaning many, and amine referring to the amino acids. So it's a chain of amino acids, not really a peptide. It's produced in three different ways. One, it's produced in our food. So plants have it, some animal products have it too. They accumulate it from what they eat. Um, but the richest sources are in the fungal kingdom, not plant or animal. So that's mycelium and mushrooms and such. So polyamines are made by three. One, your food. Two, your microbiome makes polyamines too, because they use it to protect and defend their cells and their rapid growing cells too as well. And then we find our own body can make polyamines from amino acids too as well. However, one, as we age, our microbiome tends to be not as quite as good as it was when we started out. So we get a very common microbiome dysfunction and not producing spermidine at the levels that we were when we were young. Same internally. So as we age, we see a significant decline in spermidine. By the age of 50, you're producing about half as much spermidine inside the body as you were when you were young. So spermidine. So, what does spermidine do in the body? So, it does a whole host of things. So, it's kind of hard to squeeze everything into a 30-minute podcast, but we'll do our best here.
Yeah.
But one of the main functions in its longevity effects is a thing called autophagy. So, we have two major systems in our body for protein regulation. That is the mTOR pathway, which is how we create proteins for everything from cells to enzymes to neurotransmitters to hair and skin. We use proteins all over the body, even bone. All right, so we need to create proteins, but some of these proteins age, get damaged, have DNA not working properly. And these broken proteins, damaged proteins, misfolded proteins, as they say in the scientific community, these have to be removed. Think of it as just, okay, you buy food, you bring it home, eat it, and you have some waste. Now, if you just left that waste sit around in your kitchen or your dining room for weeks, what would happen? It would be awful. It would be unlivable. Same thing happening at a cellular level. We got to make proteins, but we got to clear them out. Now, the faster we make proteins, the faster we need to get rid of these damaged ones. That's why we see high amounts of spermidine in the skin, because that's one of the highest places, fastest regenerations of cells is our skin and our hair. Also in sperm, where sperm was originally identified. So we see in organisms that have really fast, high cell turnover, a lot more spermidine generated because it's needed for things like fast-growing organisms, like microorganisms in our gut, or microorganisms like fungal and mycelium. They grow super fast. Think of it this way. have high-speed computers, but as you start calculating a lot of calculations and you get up to quantum computing, the speed at which they're processing calculations is so fast, they have a lot of junk data. And that's crashing a lot of the quantum computing. That's the biggest problem they have in quantum computing is how do they clear out the dead data, the dead ends of the questions that they're asking. And that's been the problem. So the same thing is happening on a cellular level. We rapidly need to repair and reorganize our proteins in our body. And because of this, we access three different sources of spermidine: our food, our own microbiome, and our own body. And as we age, it's going to be even more and more important to get that from our food because our microbiome isn't producing it as much or as well, and same with our own body. That's why the spermidine in food becomes very important, especially once you reach 40, 50 and older.
Okay. It's good to know.
And I'd love to our audience to hear some of the richest sources of spermidine.
Yeah, so some of the richest, obviously you can check out Dr. Greger's video. He did a great job on that, dedicated a whole chapter to spermidine.
Right.
So there was an amazing study. They took over 1,000 of the top nutrients that they know of in nature: phytonutrients, polyphenols, antioxidants, anything that really had a robust impact on extending lifespan in humans and animals. They narrowed that down to 146 nutrients, like resveratrol and NMN and NAD, and lots of these ones that are used in the longevity community. Out of 146 different nutrients tested, spermidine was multiple times greater on extending lifespan than any nutrient ever tested.
Wow.
So yeah, it's not even the same league. It's called a forest plot. Looks kind of like a Christmas tree because you plot all the dots on how life extending it was. They had to extend the forest plot to the top so that they could fit spermidine on the graph because it was so far away from everyone else.
Wow.
Yeah, it's profound how effective this is. Now, when we used to think that fasting was the greatest impact on lifespan, and we've seen that through all species, from nematodes, worms, all the way up to human beings. When you fast, you allow autophagy to happen. So you allow the cleaning process to remove that debris, which accelerates the aging process. But when they looked at that and they said, well, is it the fasting that's causing it? Fasting triggers the release of spermidine in the body to trigger autophagy. So it goes fasting, spermidine, then autophagy. Wow. So the researchers said, well, wait a minute. What if we take, unfortunately, mice, and please understand, I am not a proponent of
we're all vegans here. Yeah.
Vegan, an ethical vegan for 40 years.
Yep,
so can't wait till that comes to an end. But they took mice and they removed their abilities. They genetically knocked out their ability to produce spermidine. So they had zero spermidine and wiped out their microbiome. So no spermidine in their body at all. And then they fasted them. And fasting had no effect at all on any health parameters. So it wasn't the fasting that was actually causing the health benefits. It was the fasting triggering spermidine, and the spermidine was having. So they went even a step further and they said, okay, the number one anti-aging drug, rapamycin, okay? And it does it by suppressing mTOR. So mTOR and autophagy are a balance, like a teeter-totter. If you raise autophagy, you suppress mTOR, which basically means stop producing proteins. I'm busy clearing up the proteins. And then when you suppress autophagy, you build saves. Okay, I've got everything cleared now. Go ahead and start building more proteins. So it's a teeter-totter. One adjusts the other. So they said, well, if that's the case, why don't we just suppress mTOR with a drug and it will increase autophagy? And sure enough, it did. But it also suppressed your body's ability to make proteins, to heal and repair and grow muscle and everything like that. They saw muscle wasting or muscle loss with that drug. So Not the best approach. But here was the interesting thing. They did the same type of experience with mice, and they found that rapamycin had very little benefit when there was no spermidine present. So spermidine is the key factor here, and that you don't need a drug or calorie restriction or fasting. You can accomplish this simply by giving your body optimal amounts of spermidine through your diet. This is one of the biggest advances in understanding how we can control our lifespan through nutrition. This is so empowering to know that we have the control. If we make better choices with our food, we can dramatically extend the lifespan in our own bodies.
Wow, that's so cool. And what are food sources of spermidine?
Yeah, so some of the highest food sources are wheat germ. Now, wheat germ is technically not a whole food. Wheat is the whole food. The germ is extracted from it. So it's a processed food. So, but it is more concentrated that way. But if you look at the amount of spermidine in wheat germ, it's about 23 milligrams of spermidine per 100 grams. Now, 100 grams is a lot of wheat germ.
Yeah,
That is a lot. And eating that much.
Yeah. So, but even a little bit is helpful. So the average Mediterranean diet consuming the high plant foods gets about 25 to 30 milligrams of spermidine a day. And if you extrapolate that on the 1/3 principle, that's 30 milligrams from your diet, 30 milligrams from your microbiome, and 30 milligrams from your body in a healthy, optimal condition, and on what most of the researchers consider an optimal diet. I'd remove the fish personally, but you would get about 90 milligrams a day. And there are some people that are leaning towards, hey, maybe that should be 90 overall milligrams are our optimal target for that. So we see that in humans, the more basically we increase spermidine in the diet, and it's really important to get it from a diet, not from an isolated source, that we see greater lifespan extension. We see neurogenesis problems, neurodegenerative disease decline, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. What are Alzheimer's and Parkinson's? Alzheimer's and Parkinson's are amyloid beta plaques, tau plaques, alpha-synuclein in Parkinson's disease. These are proteins that are damaged and misfolded, clogging up the brain, causing them to shut down, causing brain inflammation. We need autophagy to clear those proteins out of our brain too as well. And we're seeing remarkable success with spermidine in all of the neurodegenerative diseases, including dementia. We see it in cardiovascular disease. What is cardiovascular disease? It's plaquing, right? More of these protein aggregation. What do we see in arthritis? It's inflammation. It's again, these accumulation of damaged proteins, damaged tissues that are just interfering with this. Over and over, we're seeing this consistency if we can just get rid of the proteins. Okay, back to the question. So,
well, I have a question if you don't mind too.
Yeah, go ahead.
Does it lower inflammation? Is that one of the factors? Yeah.
So now there are two things. Spermidine has the indirect effect of increasing autophagy, which has its whole host of benefits throughout the entire body. But it also has direct effects, meaning the spermidine can go into the cells themselves. They can stabilize DNA, which means you don't have DNA disruption or damage, which can lead to cancer cells. So very important there for prevention of cancer. You see anti-inflammation, which we know inflammaging, right? The inflammation leading to aging process, accelerated aging process throughout the body. So we see some direct effects of anti-cancer effects. The spermidine can go right into a cancer cell and basically trigger the cell to stop reproducing.
Wow.
So quelling the proliferation of the cancer cells. Cancer cells are usually killed by the body. It's when they start rapidly multiplying or proliferating or metastasizing, that's when we get in trouble, because our body can't send NK, natural killer cells or T cells over there to knock it out and apoptize it. It assists in the apoptosis process. So there's so many direct actions that are just barely, we're just cutting the surface on about spermidine happening at a cellular level. Even a thing called mitophagy. So our mitochondria are the powerhouses for all cells. They create the energy, the ATP that runs every single cell in every organism on the planet. And just like damaged cells, when you're revving up the engines, what happens? You're creating waste. With that waste can damage parts of the cells, especially proteins. That has to be removed as well, or your mitochondria start dysfunctioning. Mitochondrial dysfunction is a key tipping point. It's like the domino effect. If that falls, then all these other systems start to fall too. It's a chain reaction. So mitophagy, in some ways, is even more important than autophagy, because without the energy, none of the cells function properly. So incredible. Spermidine is actually the only nutrient ever tested for all 12 pathways of aging, from stem cell production to DNA to autophagy to mitophagy to genetic stabilization. Every single 12 pathways, the only nutrient positively affecting all 12 pathways in human cell studies. I mean, that's incredible. I mean,
it certainly is.
Yeah.
It's an exciting field. It's still in its nascency. There's great new studies coming out. There's been a huge boom in research in humans. Predominantly, it was in rodents and mice and other animals, the original research. So we had a lot of animal data, preclinical data, but not much in human beings. But in the last 10 years, there's just been this excitement and boom, from cancer to neurodegenerative to cardiovascular to diabetes.
Yeah.
Spermidine actually helps regulate blood sugar, not only through the insulinemia process, but through the muscle cells themselves, making them more receptive and more able to take up and utilize the sugars that we're consuming on a daily basis. It reduces fat. They did high-fat diets with mice and found it inhibited mice from going to full diabetes, even though they were on a high-fat diet. Not suggesting people do high-fat diet. It's not an excuse, just because you're doing spermidine, don't do a high-fat diet. But what I'm saying is we can get people to a health spot sooner, better, which may end up saving lives. And that's exciting.
It is.
Did you say that the spermidine had to be in some kind of balance with the mTOR?
Yes. So spermidine is really cool. It can, if you're sluggish in mTOR, it can help improve mTOR. If you're insufficient in autophagy, it can accelerate and even trigger autophagy all by itself.
Wow. Is there any kind of problem with like too much spermidine in your system?
Great question. And that was an original concern. So they tested it in mice to find out what the toxicity level, because obviously if you have a lot of spermidine, your body has to break it down into metabolites. Are those metabolites harmful? So that was the pathway that they followed. So they gave mice 50 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. Now, if you know mice this big, 50 milligrams is a lot for a human to take, much less something that's a 1% of our body weight.
Yeah, so tiny.
So you extrapolate that, and that would be the equivalent of 300 milligrams of spermidine. They showed zero toxicity and zero negative effects at any and every cell and every molecular measure.
Like there's no possibility of overdosing.
So here's what the body does. If the body has too much, one, it can just simply break it down into its metabolites and get rid of it. But there's a really cool triple conversion that it can go back and forth on. So spermidine can be converted to spermine, and then further converted to putrescine. And then putrescine can be converted back to spermine or spermidine. So you can interchange it all the time. So if you take in a lot of spermidine, what we see is the body starts to convert it to spermine pretty quickly if it has too much. Because spermidine will trigger autophagy. If you don't need autophagy, the body will switch it to spermine. Now, spermine has some health benefits all of its own. We could dedicate a whole different show to that. But it's more neutral and it not directly stimulating autophagy. So the body can actually almost kind of store extra spermidine as spermine or putrescine in the body and keep it in the cell levels until it's ready to need it. So there's a mechanism there to regulate, control how much blood levels of spermidine. All we need to do is give it enough so that it has sufficient amounts to reach that for everyone, regardless of gender, activity level, age group, that sort of thing. That's the key, is not getting it. So we could consume 300 milligrams. Now, if you consume that much in food, you're probably worrying about obesity at this point, not spermidine, because it would take so much food to get there. But the body will maintain homeostasis for spermidine regardless of how much you intake. The only thing we need to be really concerned with here is certain people who have histamine intolerance. It's about like a few percent of the population has an intolerance to histamine. Histamine is one of the breakdown metabolites of spermidine. So those who have what's called HIT or histamine intolerance, you know you have it. If you're an adult, you know you have it because you have to focus on foods that don't have higher histamines or spermidine in it. But those are the only group of people that really need to be concerned of higher amounts of spermidine because their body genetically can't remove the histamine as fast and they can get kind of allergic responses from it.
Have you been taking it for a while? I'm sorry, Richard. I was going to ask Geoff if he's been taking it for a while. Have you been taking the spermidine for a while, Geoff?
Off and on. So the group that is growing this out of the Netherlands, they are producing a scale up. So I could get intermittent batches of it and was using it for myself. But everybody else will be trying it basically about the same time as I have. I've been using it off and on. I love it because it's so versatile.
What's it been doing? Like, what are the effects on your body that you've noticed? So I know you eat a very clean diet to begin with.
Yeah, I've been pretty much a whole food vegan for 40 years, and I exercise daily if I can. So,
I know. You're doing great. Amazing. Great job.
I'm actually more sensitive to things. So if anything was going to have a negative effect, I would know it immediately. I mean, I could take a bite of something that in a restaurant and know my body. It's like, no, there's something in that. I can tell. My body will begin to phlegm. It will begin to react immediately. For this, my sleep improved. And again, I have to believe that's autophagy because your body's not having to work as hard to produce energy with the mitophagy or work as hard to recover because your body is clearing out those proteins at such a more efficient level. I mean, it feels like you're humming. It feels like your body is working right, optimally.
Yeah, you're feeling your best.
Hard to explain that, but it even has effects on hair growth. Now, this is interesting. They did 2 published human studies, and they're actually about to get FDA approval as the first major nutrient known to increase hair growth in humans and adults.
That's going to be huge.
Yeah. So why is that? Okay. So hair is one of the fastest protein growth systems in our entire body. Our body produces hair constantly. From the day.
Oh, we lost your audio.
Whose audio?
Oh, I lost Geoff's audio.
Oh no! There he's back. Are you back, Geoff?
Fine.
Okay, there you're back. Okay.
I wonder if Wi-Fi dropped out for a second. I don't know. Now it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So our body continues to produce hair as we
as we grow. So the researchers looked at this and it's like, why? Why is it affecting hair growth? So remember what I'm talking about quantum. If you're doing a lot of programming or producing at a really high, fast pace, you're going to need to clear away damaged stuff. Like, think of it this way. If your body is making proteins really fast, it's going to make some bad copies. That just happens. It makes mistakes. Now, you got to clear those mistakes away really quickly because the turnover of the proteins is happening so fast, especially with hair or skin. That's why we see our own skin microbiome producing spermidine to feed our cells because of skin turnover. All right, so back to the hair. They found that one of the highest concentrations of spermidine is in our scalp to grow our hair, to stabilize the hair growth so that it doesn't make bad copies and clear away the bad copies of proteins that would accumulate and cause the hair loss. What happens is these broken proteins, bad proteins, start to pile up, clog up, and then it stops or inhibits the growth of hair. Once you clear that away, the hair growth comes and it comes back stronger. They found a 20% increase in hair thickness in 6 days.
Oh my God,
that's pretty quick. Yeah.
The spermidine was helping the body produce more proteins efficiently, so more of the proteins can make thicker hair shafts. It could grow faster. And catch this, it reduced the melanin and rebalanced it in the levels so that the gray hair actually started producing dark or regular normal color hair.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because I think the gray hair is just part of like the misfolded proteins and things, isn't it?
And some of it is from the amount of a waste product that is created by that actually reduces the coloration, the pigmentation in the hair. So once you can remove that, okay, now waste product and the proteins, the hair can grow bigger, stronger, last longer. They did a hair pull test, right? You tug on the hair and see how much comes out. And they gave people spermidine and they had a 0 hair pull test. Now, I've never seen 0 before in a pull test.
Pretty weird.
Yeah. And the coolest thing about it was 6 months later, after they stopped the spermidine regimen, they still had 100% of the hair not being pulled out in the pull test amongst the patients.
Weird, yeah, that's very strange.
That's how impactful and lasting impactful this was for them. It's remarkable how much. So it's called a pleiotropic nutrient. Pleiotropic means that almost everything it touches, it positively affects in either a direct or indirect way. There have only been a very few pleiotropic. D3 is considered pleiotropic because it affects hormones, it affects skin health, it affects kidney health, it affects so many different organs in the body that have no apparent correlation other than the D3. Same with this spermidine, it positively affecting almost every cell, tissue, and organ in the human body. It's really incredible. Yeah. And, to discover, when I was first working with the growers of this mycelium, I thought, okay, this is a near perfect protein. The amino acid profile is almost identical to human tissues. It is low in methionine, which causes aging and feeds cancer cells, just like plant proteins are. But it's higher in leucine and lysine, so you get more of the healthy muscle cell growth without the methionine leading to cancer cell growth. So it's like the best of plants, the best of animals, the best for human health. And it makes sense because fungi are actually on the same tree as animals, not on the same genetic tree as plants. They split a long time ago, but fungi just split less ago than human beings. So we are more closely related to fungi than we are to plants, and as almost as closely related to fungi as our animal cousins. Now, it's interesting when you look at the way mycelium grows, it's almost identical to the dendrites in our brain. So some propose that our brain is actually mimicking the genetic information, genetic coding from mycelium. And it's clear that some mycelium have very strong effects on the brain, psychedelic effects on the brain.
Wow. Yeah, so I have a
So
two-part question. First of all, I don't know if it'd be relevant, but is there blood tests that test for the amount of spermidine? Or is it even relevant if there was?
that's a good question because you really want to understand the total spermidine in the body, how much is contributed by both all three different factors. It's clear in the data that they can see that by the age of 50, an average American was about producing about 50% less. So there's got to be a way that they're measuring it. Otherwise, they wouldn't make that claim within the research.
Right.
But how much is being contributed to my microbiome? That's going to be a little bit more difficult to test.
True.
And the easiest is just make sure you're getting enough in your diet.
Right. Yeah, because the second part of my question is, and this relates to your new product coming out, the MycelPro. My dad, he's dealt with giant cell arteritis, and that has to do with inflammation. And now, after he got recovered from that, he's dealing with severe osteoarthritis. And I'm sure there's a ton of inflammation in his body. I did give him turmeric. I ordered Bosmeric. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's turmeric and
Yep.
frankincense and ginger. I'm wondering if this would be more, a better product for him because of what he's going through. If it does cut down on inflammation, and it seems like it'd be a better fit. I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, one of the cool things about this mycelium, one, it's a whole food. So it's not a supplement. It is a genuine whole food. The only thing is it's dehydrated, just like any spice you have on your spice rack.
Right.
So it's 100% whole food, has all of its fiber intact. Now, mycelium produce three different types of fibers. One of them is common to plants, which you can find in oats, which is beta-glucans. Those have a very positive effect on the immune system. Osteoarthritis is definitely linked along with the inflammation to immune health.
Right.
The other two are called chitin and chitosan. Now, normally in our food, we would only get those in animal products like crustaceans or bugs if we ate bugs. But we don't eat bugs and we don't eat the shells of shrimp or crabs. So we're not really getting any chitin and chitosan. The only other place to get it is mushrooms or mycelium. So all three of those fibers are what are called prebiotic fibers. Prebiotic fibers can be utilized by our own microbiome for energy source, for producing metabolites that reduce inflammation, that stimulate and modulate our immune system. So beta-glucans, because they're available in oatmeal, have been studied fairly well. They're available in yeast too as well, high in beta-glucans. The other two fibers really have gotten almost no love in the press, but they are almost as equally remarkable in their effects. Chitin and chitosan bind to heavy metals and remove them from our gut. They bind to cholesterol, triglycerides, and fats, especially saturated fats, and bind them, soak them up like sponge, and remove them from our gut. Now, our body, through our liver, will take toxins out, bind it to bile acids, and then drop them into our digestive tract for elimination. But our gut, unfortunately, a lot of the time, reabsorbs the cholesterol or heavy metals or forever chemicals like PFAS and PFAS, these things that are almost impossible to get out of our system. So there's this vicious cycle of relooping. Well, chitin and chitosan are the single most binding fiber to bile acids. It's called bile acid sequestration. They're pulling these bile acids out of the intestines and eliminating them. So all these, they've shown a remarkable reduction in forever chemicals by consuming this fiber. It lowers LDL cholesterol, lowers triglycerides, lowers blood pressure. I mean, this is extraordinary, the health benefits. And then it can actually go into the system, go into the bloodstream, and help stabilize blood sugars, even better than some of the plant fibers. Remember, plant fibers are about 50-50 prebiotic to non-prebiotic. This the mycelium is 100% prebiotic fiber. So you're getting 10 grams of prebiotic fiber. That's more prebiotic fiber than any pretty much normal food serving of any whole food on the planet that we know of.
Wow. Wow.
So it's not just the spermidine, it's also these amazing activities of the chitin and chitosan and beta glucans in these fibers. That's why I was so excited about presenting a whole food protein powder. One, let's move away from these highly processed plant and animal proteins in protein powder form. Yep. I get it. People want to consume more protein, but there's a healthier way to do that. Get it in its whole food state. Now you've also got the richest source of spermidine in this whole food, not only a 50% of the protein that you need in a single serving, right, but now you're getting also this chitin and chitosan fibers, beta glucan fibers for the immune system. You're getting a whole suite of bioactive things that are helping lipid profiles. They're helping detoxify the body. They're helping stabilize blood sugars and prevent diabetes, obesity, diabetes kind of things. It's the whole food that is remarkable in its own, not just these aspects.
What about microplastics? Because you mentioned heavy metals. Can you get rid of microplastics?
Yes, 100%. There's a couple of amazing papers. I encourage your listeners to type in chitin or chitosan and chitosan and microplastics. It is amazing at removing microplastics. Now, it does it by a wholly different function than it does heavy metals. Heavy metals, it binds electrostatically. With forever chemicals, it does so through biosequestration. But this chitosan also does microplastics. Now, they did an interesting study, and they said, all right, let's do mice again, and let's feed them microplastics with chitin and chitosan. So they said, okay, all right. So they controlled the amount of microplastics going into their body, and they controlled the amount of chitosan. And what they saw in their poop was that 115% of the microplastic was removed.
Wow.
Wow, that's impressive.
Now, you can't remove 100% more than you put in the body. So where was that extra 15% coming in? They also found that 12% of the microplastics were actually gotten stuck in the gut. So that wasn't removed. When you take 12 and 15%, you're talking 27%, almost 30% of the microplastics were being pulled from inside their body out of the body, not just preventing them from going into the body through the digestive tract. So one, you're blocking microplastics from going into the body, but two, you're actually pulling the microplastics out of the body.
That's really impressive.
Exciting.
That really is, yeah.
So what this product is it like a protein powder, or is it in a capsule form, or what is it, Geoff?
Yeah, so I thought I was like, okay, how can we get this to people so they can take advantage of these health benefits when people, one, don't know what mycelium is, two, don't
they have
know
no
what
idea.
chitosan is.
It's very complex, yeah.
So, and look, I get it. Not everybody's this big science geek and science nerd like we are, but
I mean, this is good though. It's good to know, but not everybody can understand that. Most of the time, you just have to be like, take this.
Exactly. So I'm like, okay, what is the way to get it into the most people? Make it a powder that you can stir into water. The cool thing is it has almost no flavor whatsoever.
Well, that's awesome.
If you look at most of the mushroom and mycelium out there, they have a umami flavor, right? Earthy, mushroomy, taste good. This has no flavor whatsoever. So it's a powder you can stir into water. You can stir it into plant milks. You can stir it into oatmeal. You can blend it into smoothies. You can cook with it and bake with it. It doesn't affect the spermidine. You can make pancakes or baked goods. You can
so the cooking, the heating of it and all that doesn't seem to bother it. It just seems to work the same way.
Heat doesn't affect spermidine at all, nor the fibers. So this is amazing that you can do anything with it.
Yeah, I would really like to, just see what it does. It'd be very interesting. Yeah.
I'm still waiting for my package. Can't wait to get it.
Me too. Trust me, I'm waiting too.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
I go to the gym a lot, and there's these bodybuilders that are using the typical whey protein powders. I don't think they have any benefit, but do you think if they made a switch to this MycelPro, they would see a benefit? 'Cause personally, I think they're
Well,
just wasting their money, and it's not.
They are
You know,
wasting their
they're
money
they're getting bigger maybe from their workouts, but it's not
from their
from
workout.
yeah,
Their
it's not
workout
from the whey
extra
protein.
calories. Yep.
But do you think they
yeah,
would notice a difference with MycelPro if they were to switch?
yes. So here are a couple things. Look, I took the stage, and I'm a champion natural bodybuilder and a champion natural physique. So I won first in both classes. Um, so I know what it takes to get that type of physique, and it takes a lot of dieting, something I know you're familiar
Yeah.
with.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So protein is one thing. Yes, you need the building blocks, and you need the triggers, and lysine and leucine are the key triggers. This is as high in combined lysine and leucine. Actually, we did a comparison, and this protein on a gram for gram basis has more lysine and leucine, the two key anabolic initiators, than a whole egg, whole milk, or chicken breast.
Wow.
Wow.
So you're getting a higher quality. It's a 1.0 PDCAS, which is the same as milk and egg, and even higher than meat and chicken and fish. So you're getting more digestibility, you're getting more amino acid bioavailability, higher in branched chain amino acids than all three, higher in essential amino acids than milk, egg, or chicken breast. Is phenomenal. They should change to that just for that reason. But
Mhm.
they're also getting the muscle. All right. So when you need the building blocks, then you need the stimulation, obviously the workout, but then you need the recovery. Recovery is where the muscle is built,
That's
not the
right.
workout,
Yep.
not the building blocks. It's the
Yep.
recovery that's where the muscle is made.
Yep.
And what is muscle being made? Muscle protein synthesis, generating new proteins. Well, some of those are going to be bad copies. And
Yeah.
if you stimulate a lot of muscle protein synthesis, especially if you're using anabolic steroids, you're hyperstimulating.
Yeah.
That means you're making a lot of bad copies, and you've
Mhm.
got to get those clear, or you're going to stunt your own growth. So this can help people clear those out of the way and get better, faster results, less DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, that come from a heavy training and workout. And muscle shows up best when you reduce body fat, right?
Yeah.
Every time I get ready for a contest, everybody says, "Oh, you look so much bigger." And I'm like, "I lost 15 pounds." It's because you lose the fat that's covering the muscle
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
makes the muscle look so much bigger.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this can help with that as well. So why wouldn't you? If it's the same digestibility 1.0 PDCAS, it's just as high in leucine and lysine as the animal products you're consuming. It helps you recover faster than whey can possibly, because it has zero amount of spermidine in it.
Yep. I'm sure. I'm sure.
And then the chitosan and chitin to regulate your blood sugars to help you maintain lower body fat. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a win-win-win across the board.
It
I
really
don't care
sounds like
what
an
kind of
amazing
diet
thing.
you're consuming.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. So, when will it be available? So I know our audience definitely wants to, some of them will definitely want to order it.
Yeah, so you can pre-order now, and we'll begin shipping probably around next 2 weeks from our warehouse.
Oh, awesome.
It
And
just finished up production, so we're having it all tested to make sure it's safe to consume. And oh, speaking of safe to consume, because this mycelium is grown in water and not soil, it can be 100% controlled for its heavy metals.
oh, I
I'm
was going to
sure
ask about that. That's good.
I'm sure you heard about the latest
Yeah,
consumer lab testing,
I did.
where
Yep.
a lot of the plant proteins have failed, especially organic proteins.
Wow.
Tend to be higher in heavy metals and lead,
I saw
cadmium.
that
Yeah,
too.
Yeah.
yeah. So a serving of our protein is so low in heavy metals, some of them don't even register It's not even detectable
That is
because
awesome.
we control 100% of the inputs. It's not exposed to rain where you can get heavy metals. It's not exposed to soil where you can get heavy metals, where most plants get it from. And it's not exposed even to the air where air pollution can come from. Is the cleanest protein you can possibly consume because of that, because of the way it's grown. And a single mycelium, we have one mycelium that we harvest over and over again. So we just harvest the branches so the mycelium stays alive. Mm-hmm. And this one mycelium can produce a cow and a half's worth of protein in 24 hours.
Very nice.
So it is the most ecological, the lowest carbon footprint. As a matter of fact, it consumes more carbon dioxide than it takes to make it.
What an amazing product. What an amazing
it could help the world, the whole world really with the, hunger and everything.
Yeah.
The United Nations pulled together the UN 2DG, I believe it's called, or something like that, where they formed an entire group, brought in agriculture people, bioscience people, food people, health and nutrition people, top researchers from all around the world. They built this consortium and said, hey, look, our food system is broken. Mm-hmm. Come up with the best idea you can possibly come up with to switch our food processing. And they said, we have one answer that affects everything positively: mycelium.
Nice.
That's the answer that the United Nations came with. And they said, this will help food hunger, food scarcity. Remember, it doesn't depend on the weather. If we have drought or heavy rains due to climate change, this is not affected at all. Where every other food crop, plant or animal, is dramatically affected by climate change factors. So food sustainability, food consistency, food ability to produce to feed 10 billion people on this population. Every single aspect of it, food quality, protein quality, nutrient quality, all of it, mycelium was the answer. Mycelium even produces all the enzymes. Mycelium produced penicillin. Yeah. And that increased the lifespan of human beings by 23 years. That is the greatest shift in human lifespan extension ever in human history.
It really is.
I had forgotten it produced penicillin.
Yeah. And they were back at it again in the 1970s. We got statins from mycelium.
Oh, really? That's another thing that they say has increased lifespan quite a bit.
Number 2. Yeah. Yes. So the number 1 cause of death globally in humans is cardiovascular disease. The number 1 drug treatment for it is statins. So both the number 1 and 2 most life-extending things came from mycelium.
That's amazing. That's remarkable. That really is remarkable.
So and now we have the third one, which is spermidine, and they're the largest producers of spermidine.
So I have a question because I know that cholesterol drugs can cause muscle aches and various side effects from what I hear. I never took one, but based on what I hear. So is there any side effects that you've heard of for taking mycelium?
You just said about the histamine, the people who react.
Yeah, I know about the histamine, but is there anything else to worry about? Or?
No, there are a few people who are hyper allergic to fungi, the whole kingdom, mushrooms, mycelium.
Well, I know I'm not. I eat mushrooms every day.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're already eating mushrooms, chances are mycelium is going to do that because it falls within the same kingdom. This mycelium, now certain mycelium can produce toxins as a defense mechanism. But this specific mycelium was chosen because it's a specific strain of a specific mycelium that was tested all the way down to its genetics. So they took the genetic code and broke it all the way apart and looked for any genetic segment that could produce a mycotoxin, and there was 0. So it's not even possible for this particular mycelium to produce a toxin. It's genetically impossible. So it can't negatively affect you. The safety data, all the research that's gone into this, the growing techniques, the carbon footprint, the protein amino acid profile, and now the spermidine, it's just been an extraordinary. I've been spending over 2.5 years on this project to get this market.
Amazing.
this new study coming up is really near and dear to my heart. I'm going to try to explain this without choking up too much.
Oh my goodness.
I lost my mother, both my brothers, and my father at an early age, and it devastated me. And I went into depression and became suicidally depressed and attempted to take my life twice.
Oh my gosh, Geoff.
I couldn't handle the pain anymore.
Yeah.
Fortunately, somebody helped me with a breakthrough that was so tremendous. I quit smoking, quit drinking, quit eating any animal products in one day, all gone. And I dedicated the rest of my life to helping other people be as healthy and not have to deal with depression. A brand new study is coming out. It should be published in the next month or two, using 6 milligrams of spermidine. And 100% of the people who had moderate to severe depression improved their depression scores.
Wow.
100%.
That's awesome.
And that was just using 6 milligrams. This product has almost 70 milligrams per serving.
Wow.
We got to tell our friend Rob Lee about that, because he was dealing with depression.
Yeah, he does deal with that.
Yeah.
I know so many people that deal with depression, and the drugs that they give you have significant side effects, even though they're essential to keeping you here on the planet. But it's a difficult problem to deal with.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, we're going to see more research in this field of depression because the results were so astounding. It's very rare to see 100% of the respondents.
Yeah, I'll say
with a positive result.
That is amazing. Yeah.
So and so dear to my heart. I mean, if I'm producing a product that is going to help somebody with their depression after it almost ended my life, man, what a give back that is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Well, I knew a few people with depression, I wish it could have helped them. I mean, I know a few people who died from it. And, I mean, it's an important issue, and I'm so glad you brought that up.
And so many people that have depression will kind of self-medicate with like drugs and alcohol. And then they'll end up dying from diseases caused by the excessive drugs and alcohol without ever even addressing the depression. It's really, really amazing if you could just give them a tasteless, colorless thing in their drink and just pop it in there. I wonder if it mixes well with alcohol. You can just stick it in there.
Don't suggest that.
I'm just saying, if it's necessary to get it into people, I wonder if it would work to help improve their health. Anything to make people healthier, right?
Right.
Well, the fortunate thing is that it really can combine well with food. We even put it in sauces for cooking. We put it in salad dressings. I mean, it's just so easy to add to almost anything.
And the serving size is probably just 1 scoop or something a day?
It's 2 scoops because remember, it's whole food. If we isolated it, it could have been 1 scoop, but it is a little bit larger serving. And it's because you're getting all of the extra goodies in there, 10 grams of prebiotic fiber for gut health. Now, of course, you can use 1 scoop. It'll still give you 35 milligrams of spermidine in a single scoop. That's really up to you. I mean, 35 milligrams is what the Mediterranean diet is consuming basically an entire day.
Right.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, I can't wait to try it. You got another or two, so I'm going to place one for my dad too, and I think it will benefit him.
Yeah.
There are so many things that we aren't even aware that it could positively affect. Because like somebody said, hey, look, I had a father or a relative that has severe liver issues. Could you look into it? And sure enough, I found 3 studies on it reversing the fibrosis in the liver. Remember,
that's
fibrosis,
amazing. Yeah, that's amazing.
Is the accumulation of proteins, right? And it's removing that from the liver too. And they had a fibrotic liver, and they said doesn't want to get a liver transplant. And my God, if you can save somebody from something as drastic as a liver transplant.
I dealt with a client that had a liver transplant, and that is way more serious than just the hole.
I can't even imagine.
To get it in and out is just getting that thing to close properly is a nightmare. And you're in the hospital for months and months and months, and the drugs you have to take, it's just incredible. It's
And
avoiding that, just being able to avoid
Yeah,
that. It's just,
absolutely.
you know,
quality of life. And, some people said, I did a video presentation on the research for mycelium and this mycelium and spermidine, and it has almost 500,000 views already in just 4 months.
nice job, Geoff.
Yeah, I know I
So,
watched it. Yeah.
yeah, it's really reaching a lot of people, which is great. And
And
I
I
think
shared it
people
as
are
well.
hungry for this. But one of the biggest comments was, why would I want to live to 120? And it's not necessarily about living that long. It's about living longer,
The quality.
healthier.
Yeah,
The
it's
quality.
about, being able to paddleboard because you feel like it, just being
Yeah.
able to go camping and not worrying about, whether you're going to get a rib stuck out just from laying on the
Yeah.
hard,
And who,
just being able to enjoy your
yeah.
life as long as you have it.
And who
And
wants to
so
be in a
many
nursing
people,
home too,
exactly. You don't want to spend the last 30 to 40. What I've noticed is people spend the last 30 to 40 years of their life just going from doctor to doctor to
Yeah,
doctor, and they're
exactly.
expecting answers to questions. There is no answer. The answer is you got to change your diet and change your life. If they don't have anything for you. They have you pills, and they have pills and they have powders which are going to help, 20 or 30%, but it really comes down to, I mean, what do you know? It's diet and exercise and
Yep.
some sleep. That's the
Yep.
magic formula that nobody wants to hear. Yeah,
I do.
exactly, Geoff. Exactly, Geoff. That's exactly it.
Yep. Yep.
And these are two things that we can change, that we have control over. We don't
It's the
have
only
to
thing you have
depend on a
control over.
doctor.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
Yeah. You don't have to depend on the drugs. You can change your diet. You can change your exercise. And look, we're in a place that humanity has never experienced before.
Yeah.
We're
We're pretty
subjected
comfortable.
we're subjected to chemicals, a barrage of chemicals that the human body has never and does not know how to handle.
That's so true.
We're sicker faster than any time in history. And because we're in such extremes, exposing our body to such extremes, this ultra processed food, these chemicals, these pollutants everywhere, water, air, anything, it's everywhere. So we have to find what nature has to offer that can match that can meet this extreme level of toxification with detoxification.
You just have to look to the mushroom.
Yep. I just watched a podcast, I think it was last week, about Parkinson's and how they think it originated. I guess it came from London. There was a lot of heavy contaminants and chemicals, at the time, and there was a high concentration of Parkinson's when they first discovered it.
Wow.
So I believe it's caused by heavy metals, and if mycelium could eliminate heavy metals, I think you have
and
a good
everybody's
chance
out
to
there
maybe
eating
wipe it.
fish.
Yeah, and maybe you have a good
Fish
chance
for
to.
health. I'm like, oh God, if your doctor tells you when you're pregnant, don't eat the fish, what does that tell you about how healthy eating the fish is?
Exactly.
It's like, what in the world are you talking about? Stop it.
Yep.
I mean, I talk to, patients all day, every day, and they're like, you don't eat chicken, you don't eat fish, you don't eat eggs. What are you eating? They're like, well, how about just a little chicken and eggs? And I'm like, well, then you'll be like my husband, actually, when you'll end up on 15 different
Yeah, how
pills
about
with
a
all
little bit
kinds of
of
problems, heading
medication then?
specialist after specialist. And if that's what you want to live and that's how you want to live your life, that's how it's going to be, sadly. But if you just dump those things, just ditch it. It's, it's
I
a
have friends
mental
who,
health change.
yeah,
It's a mental state change,
I have friends who say they don't care. They just
Oh,
they
I
want to
know.
live their life like they're having fun now, and
Yeah.
they don't care.
I said,
It's
it's
sad
nothing's
that
fun
now.
about going to the doctor.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, I waited
Well,
2 hours
Something
yesterday for an eye
yeah,
appointment, and then
yeah.
and that's what I'm hoping with this product. Like, everybody wants protein, so okay, and it tastes easy, and you can just mix it in a shaker after a workout. Okay, that's easy.
Yep.
But you're going to experience health benefits, and that's what I want to do, is give people just a glimpse of what superior health feels like, so they'll say, wow, I'm sleeping better, I feel better, my hair's growing better, my skin looks better,
It's
I mean,
just so
wrinkles are
nice
going.
to be
Yeah.
so healthy.
They'll start to feel these things and go, well, maybe I can get better. They just don't believe because they haven't experienced it. I just want to give them a bit of nature's forgiveness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For all the damage that you've done to your body, here's a
Exactly.
little forgiveness and see what that feels like to you.
Yeah.
That's what I want to get people just to open that, crack open that door.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
maybe
it's
you'll
really
say,
beautiful.
this is good. What's next? What can I do more?
Yeah, I'm just so pleased that it's actually a whole food product.
Yeah,
I
me
can't,
too.
you've got me. I gotta try it. I gotta see what
Yeah.
happens.
I can't wait to try it myself. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and again, it's just like eating any other whole food. It's just happens to be really rich in some of the cool things that can help heal our
Yeah,
bodies.
it's
awesome.
And our
amazing.
bodies
So,
need healing more now than ever.
yeah. So, where can people find the product? Is it just your website, Lean Machine, or?
Yeah, so we're the first and only company. We have the exclusive for this material for this mycelium. So we're the only people in the protein powder space with it. So if you want to try it, there's only one place to get it, and that's
Nice,
us.
nice.
And that's at cleanmachineonline.com.
Yep.
I post about the research as I find more research on it. I post just to keep
Yeah,
people
very helpful, honestly.
Yeah. So you can follow me, Geoff Palmer, on Facebook or on our websites on IG and Facebook at Clean Machine Fit.
Awesome. Yeah, I encourage everybody to check it out. You really are very knowledgeable, and I appreciate that over the years.
Exactly.
I've learned a lot from you.
Yeah, we really thank you for coming on here, Geoff. It's been amazing talking to you.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating world. You know, we've so dedicated to nutrition, to plants and animals. We forgot about the third kid in the room, the mycelium, the
Yeah,
fungal
definitely.
branch.
Definitely.
They've been the redheaded stepchild, yet they are the longest living organism on the planet. They found one mycelium that was at least 2 million years old.
Oh, wow.
So they took a piece of it and found that it could, but if it had enough nutrients to thrive, it could survive indefinitely. This
You know,
is
Geoff,
where
you
we
really,
should be learning from, right? This
Yeah.
is what we
yeah,
should be
you
trying
really
to.
hit the nail on the head. I don't know how much a part of the TikTok community you are, but I mean, TikTok has got all the young people on board at the moment. It does. And they're all about mushrooms and they're all about protein, Geoff. So if you go on there and tout this stuff, boy, oh boy, you're about to be a multi-billionaire and join the one percenters.
Well, one of the big TikTok trends too is fiber maxing. So trying to increase.
Yeah, they're
your
trying to do the
yeah,
beans.
yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to do 2 cups of beans a day is what all the kids are doing right now. Yeah, 2 cups of beans, mushrooms, and protein. That's all they want. So yeah, there you go. And you know, they're all BMI well over 30. I don't know what's going on, but that's how it's playing out right now.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Anyway,
Well,
this is
thank you so much
yeah.
for having me on and sharing this information. It's so exciting. Yeah, I realize that we covered a lot of science stuff, but if anybody has any questions, they can always reach out to me through social or info at Clean Machine Online. Happy to answer questions.
Yeah, we'll put your info in the bio below. You know. So yeah, thanks for joining us, and I'll be in touch. I'll let you know how I like it once I receive it.
Thank you.
I know I'm gonna love it.
Take care, Geoff. Have a great
Okay.
day.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye.